So, yes, like we said, today we'll be looking into what happened at the election tribunal. I want to like make it clear. We have a very unique guest today on this channel who will be taking us through what happened today at the election tribunal. Like we all know that INEC has started their defense. They were there at the election tribunal yesterday, but their witnesses were nowhere to be found. So they had to ask for an adjournment. So this case was adjourned till today. And yes, today we have a witness from INEC. So these are some of the things we want to discuss this evening. We want to check and see the implications of what happened yesterday. And INEC has closed its case, their case. So we don't know how is it going to affect their chances, in clearing their name, because INEC really has to clear their name. I mean, the INEC chairman and all the people that worked with them, they really have to like rebuild the trust that the Nigerian people had in them. Because we overtrusted INEC. We trusted INEC during the election. The way the INEC chairman was coming out to talk to the Nigerian people, he was always there to tell us, to give us updates, to tell us that this technology, that there's no going back, we are going to use it and all that. But we all know what happened. We all know what happened to our movement when it got to the time of the transmission of these results. This glitch that we don't still know what it means happened. This glitch that they've not still come out to tell the Nigerian people happened. And that is why we are at the tribunal. We want them to explain, we want them to tell us why were we not declared winners. I mean Peter Obi of the Labour Party. Because we know that Peter Obi got majority of the votes. So I think our guest is live. Yes, Dr. Tebert. Sorry for that glitch.
Indeed, glitch, indeed. What a word in this season.
Sorry for that technical glitch that occurred,
Yeah.
honestly. So we are happy to have you here. We really want you to
Okay.
tell our viewers, just throw more light on what happened today at the election tribunal. You might even start from yesterday. INEC was meant to start their defense that yesterday, but will I say to the glory of God, their witnesses disappeared. And it appears like they didn't even notify INEC that they won't be coming, because from the look of things, it was also shocking to them that they couldn't find any of their witnesses. And they were able to provide one. Thank God that finally they got one person that came today to
Yeah.
come and testify. So please,
They
just
were
tell our viewers
they
what
were able,
happened today at the election tribunal.
yeah, they were able to provide one because that one was happens to be their staff, the director level anyways. It's funny because INEC was supposed to come to defend the whole gamut of the issues that happened during the presidential election. They were allotted third to seventh, meaning the whole of the working days of this week. They were meant to come, dust up their argument, come and demonstrate to Nigerians why we should trust them. And again, the European Union Commission, their report on the same election came out this same week. And that was a very good opportunity for INEC to come and really indeed counter the damning report. But I think it is apparent that they don't really have anything. They don't know what to do. They don't have anything to defend. Not that they don't have anything to defend. They don't have the ground upon which they could defend the situation we found ourselves in Nigeria. And then remember that ordinarily, when the Labour Party was closing their argument, that INEC defense was supposed to come just immediately the next day. But they were given a whole 1 week and then the public holidays and what have you. So they had every reason to put their house in order, to be honest. They were given all the leeway, the opportunity and whatever they might desire to be able to come up with an argument to defend their act if they had any. But it's obvious they don't have any. You may have listened to me in other programs where I keep asking Inec, where did you get the result that you declared? How are you going to defend what you have done? Because every day I look at the Electoral Act, I'm looking at, even as we talk now, I'm looking at it on my system. And this document called the Electoral Act is like a playbook that the Nigerian people gathered together through the National Assembly, because the National Assembly is the representative of the people. They gathered together, they sat together, and they said, this is what we want. This is how we want our election to be done. And then our representative put them together, took that document to the president, and the president signed it into law. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria gave power to the president to sign that document if he's comfortable with it, and he did. So it became a legal document.
Mm-hmm.
And that document was handed over to Inec. And everybody that worked on that election, from the ad hoc staff to the chief returning officer, who happens to be the Inec chairman himself, they swore under oath to defend the content of that document.
Yeah, everything.
So if you hear me when I talk most of the time, I keep saying Inec didn't have any promise to make us, because people keep saying, oh, Inec, you promised, you didn't fulfill your promise. And I'm like, what promise? They don't owe us any promise. They have a law to obey, the Constitution to follow. And when it comes to following Constitution, it's not even a matter of whether you like it or not. That's why the sign of justice in Nigeria is a blind person holding a sword and a scale, showing, I don't know who I am, who is before me. I am just giving judgment based on the weight I am feeling and the sword that will divide that particular thing. So whether Inec staff, Mahmoud and co liked what was happening or not, it was immaterial. And then they came to court yesterday to tell the court that their witness were not available. For whatever reason they gave, it's immaterial. The summary is that they were not available. And then they show up today again and brought one person out of the three that they mentioned yesterday. You know, another thing people didn't ask themselves was, so what happened to the other two they mentioned? Did they completely absconded, or did they find it not necessary to bring them up, as the case may be? Now, the issue of IREV, the only thing the witness did today, who happens to be a deputy director of the IT or director of IT, I don't know, but he's at directorate level. And he's been there for 20 years, which means he knows what is happening in Inec.
Even more than 20 years.
Yes. So he came there and said that in his witness statement, when his lawyer, the Inec lawyer, and even the APC lawyer and Tinubu's lawyer were asking him questions, he admitted the fact that collation can go on without IREV. Without IREV. So even if there's a glitch, because I'm beginning to draw back and say, okay, fine, you people say there's a glitch, good, because there were two things they were trying to defend today, that the cloud trail, that there was a glitch. Fine, let us assume that there was a glitch. The Supreme Court says we want EC8A and we want the BVAS data. Beautiful. But there is something they kept forgetting, which is one thing that is in the Section 64 of the Electoral Act. The Section 64 of the Electoral Act. I have it here. It says, subsection 6 says, where during collation of results, there is a dispute regarding a collated result or the result of an election from a polling unit, the collation officer or returning officer shall, now we all know that in law the word shall means must,
Compulsory, yeah.
shall use the following, meaning these steps, to determine the correctness of the disputed result. Step number 1 is there must be the original hard copy result of the result in question, hard copy. That's item number 1. The original of the disputed collated result for each polling unit where the election is disputed. 1. The smart card reader or other technology device used for accreditation of voters in each polling unit where the election is disputed for the purpose of obtaining, now this is the reason, for the purpose of obtaining accreditation data directly from the smart card reader or technology device. I am not quoting offhand, I'm reading from my computer here. Section 64 of the Electoral Act, subsection 6A and B I've read now. Then the C says, data accreditation recorded and transmitted directly from each polling unit where the election is disputed as prescribed under section 47 subsection 2 of this act, meaning that even the data accreditation you want to confirm, you can't just confirm it any way you feel like. You must refer to section 47 to follow the rules spelled out in section 47 in the way to determine what is a correct accreditation. Everything is measured with rules. Then again, in fact, let me put it this way. The Electoral Act makes it look like password. You like your phone, you use your phone all the time, but even if your phone hears your voice, if you don't enter the right PIN, it won't give you access. You own it, it's yours, but it won't open. The Electoral Act says you must follow these steps. Now, D says, now I've mentioned the physical hard copy of the result, the physical beavers machine. Then the third thing now is C, the data of accreditation recorded and transmitted from each polling unit where the election is disputed, meaning soft copy of the accreditation. This says the votes and the result of the election recorded and transmitted directly from each polling unit where the election is disputed as prescribed under section 60 subsection 4. If we have time, we will check section 60 subsection 4, what it says. But have you noticed that there are 4 things here the officer must have to determine the correctness of the result? Number 1 is the physical result in dispute. And why would this physical result become a disputed item? Because from the polling units to the collation center, they might doctor the result. And if they doctor the result, maybe for your party, and I felt that having doctored the result for your party will injure my party, I will contest it. And if I contest it, the collation officer who was not there will now try to be the judge. And the rule says if you must be the judge, you must have 4 items. The one we are arguing about, the beavers machine where the record is, and the one that you have already transmitted that is online, and the accreditation data that is also online. Meaning, as I used to explain in the many platforms where I found myself, that it's like you gave someone a check to go and draw money in the bank, a check of, say, 10,000 naira. And you call a banking officer and say to the banking officer, I've just sent someone to come and draw a check of 10,000 naira. And this is the check number. That check number is like the accreditation. If any check appears in the bank without that number, even if it is the same amount of money, you will not accept that check.
Yeah.
That's number 1. Number 2, if for some reason the guy just adds 10 and it becomes 100,000 on the same check number, the banking officer will notice. So the IREV is like the banking officer waiting for the physical one. If it matches what I have been told by the owner of the check, I will pass the check. If it does not match, I will reject it.
Mm-hmm.
So, in order to debunk the man who gave testimony and Inec themselves, if there were no result on the IREV and the dispute ensued, how will the collation officer resolve it? That's question number one. Question number two is, in this election, did we not hear multiple disputes saying, no, this is not the result? There was a dispute at the collation center. There was a dispute everywhere.
Everywhere.
Immediately after the election, people were
Even at the
quarreling,
collation
complaining,
center,
even at the collation
everywhere.
center. And the result, the tools that they were supposed to, 4 items they were supposed to rely, they had only 2. The physical copy that is under dispute and the beavers machine. But there was nothing online. So they had only 50% of what they need to draw a conclusion. And INEC went ahead to draw a conclusion. How can they justify that there is no need for IREV copy? Meaning that there is no way you can declare a result that IREV has not captured clearly.
Yes.
That is how one thing their witness, and when the Labour Party lawyer started asking him questions, apparently it looked as though he was actually even lying under oath, because the document of the so-called stress test on the equipment showed that everything was okay. But his testimony does not suggest that if you read the transcript. And in fact, I sent you a Twitter trail today. I don't know if you saw the video.
Yes.
Where maybe you will play the video for our audience later, where Channels TV interviewed the same person that was on oath today. And he used his mouth to say exactly what I am saying now. But he got to the court and shied away, forgetting that he had said this to the hearing of the whole world and that particular video clip is circulating. So I'm beginning to think that INEC is even going ahead to do a self-destruct, because maybe some people who were Festus Okoye said a whole lot of things that support the law. Now he's reneging. The question is, from where is he now getting the new law that can back his current position?
What a pain, yeah.
That's honestly. Number one. Secondly, this man who knows the law, he's reneging. And you could see, I just read of the law. I am not a lawyer, okay? But it's in plain English. It's plain. It says, this is how the collation officer. So when the President Olusegun Obasanjo wrote a letter to INEC chairman, he was writing that letter bearing in mind that there is a provision for him to pause, resolve before you announce. So if there is a dispute that is raised, you must pause whatever you're doing, resolve it
before, yeah.
But what he ended up
doing, he even promised that. He told the people that were like contesting that they should calm down and they will go through all these things before the final.
And then Nigerians went to bed, and we woke up with a new president declared, and no resolution. They now said what? Go to court. So apparently what the court is doing now is to become the collation officer. The court has become the collation officer.
Of course. Look at all the boxes.
Exactly. The court is now being served with the disputed results. So the court will now do the work of collation, disputing, and now again, the blood result. They asked the same guy a question today. Is it not that even if the result is blood, As long as the physical EC8A is there, you can use it. He said yes. But then the Labour Party lawyer asked him again to read the document, and he said that the document is blurred and he can't read it.
Yeah, couldn't read it.
So if the collation officer were to refer to what is on the IRF, how can he refer to a blurred result to be able to make a decision? Now, I don't know how old your child is, but if you take out time out of this meeting now and ask your son or your daughter, they will definitely tell you that Mommy, you can't ask me to read for you what is blood.
Yeah.
But INEC and APC is trying to tell Nigerians, if it is blood, take it that way. So it's indeed funny, but I think we should leave it this way now. But let me read that section 60, subsection 4 for you, if you don't mind. I always like reading this thing. It's so beautiful. This law was well crafted. I like it.
But the willpower to follow it is what they don't have, honestly.
Yes, let me in fact read all the section 60 for you. Subsection 1, 2, 3, 4. Say the presiding officer shall, after counting the votes at the polling unit, enter the votes scored by each candidate in a form to be prescribed by the commission, which is form EC 8A. The form shall be signed and stamped by the presiding officer and countersigned by the candidates of their polling agent where available at the polling unit. Now, the presiding officer shall give to the polling agent and the police officer where available. Now, you can see where available is not a must. A copy each of the completed form after it has been duly signed as provided under subsection 2. Subsection 4 says the presiding officer shall count and announce the result at the polling unit. Number 5, the presiding officer shall transfer the result, including total number of accredited voters and the result of the ballot paper, in a manner prescribed by the commission. What is that manner prescribed by the commission? We now go to section 47, subsection 2. Because as I said, it says here, section 47 says, to vote, the presiding officer, that is subsection 2, the presiding officer shall use a smart card reader or any other technology device that may be prescribed by the commission for the accreditation of voters to verify, confirm, and authenticate the particulars of the intending voters in a manner prescribed by the commission. Number 3, subsection 47, subsection 3 says, where a smart card reader, this is important, or any other technological device deployed for accreditation of voters fails to function in any unit and a fresh card reader or technology device is not deployed, the election in that unit shall be cancelled. So by law, the glitch we had on the presidential election should warrant a cancellation of the presidential election, because that glitch made it practically impossible for collation officers to be able to collate at the ward level.
Yeah. Okay.
By law. If we scroll down, if we move down again to section 64, the same section 64 where we are reading before, you could see now that it says here in section 64, subsection 4, a collation officer or return officer at an election shall collate and announce the result of an election subject to his or her verification and confirmation that A, the number of accredited voters on the ballot result are correct and consistent with the number of accredited voters recorded and transmitted directly from polling units. So the collation officer should, under normal circumstances, not start collation until he has confirmed that IREV is available and that the physical copy is available. Because in the process of collation, a dispute might arise. Section 64, subsection 3, 4b says the votes stated on the collated result are correct and consistent with the vote or result recorded and transmitted. So we're talking about two results here. two results. The votes stated on the collated result are correct and consistent with the votes or result recorded and transmitted. So how can you do collation? How can you announce a result at the ward level when you don't have two results? They say here you must have two results. Soft copy result on the IRF and hard copy result with you. And you must also have soft copy accreditation and hard copy that is in the beavers. So you can see that INEC breached section 47, section 60, section 64. And all these three sections deals with accreditation, voting, announcing, and collation of results. And it goes further to also deal with what is called the chain of custody to make sure that there is integrity at every stage of the election collation and announcement. So INEC got to court and felt like, you know what, we can't defend ourselves. That's what I call it. They just said we can do. That's what I call it.
Yes, honestly.
I believe what they just said is that Nigerians, to be honest, let's tell you people, we can't defend ourselves. And then they left. I wish, if you have time, you will play that video of that INEC, or or the tweet. You can even link it, put it in let people listen to him. It's funny. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Everything. Look. Nigeria, even the constitution they say, even this our constitution they say is fraught with a lot of irregularities. If we want to be honest to ourselves, we can make a fantastic Nigeria out of it. We just deliberately don't want to. So, it's true. Yeah. You've used that word again. I don't like when people say what they promise. Remember what we said here. They don't even owe us any promise. They just broke the law. They just broke the law. They just exactly. They just went and broke the law. So that's my take in the whole thing. All right. So I don't know if you have any other question before I'm thinking, anyway, maybe I could partition it into the prayers of Labour Party as it pertains to INEC's defense, because the prayers of Labour Party cuts across INEC, the candidate Tinubu and his assistant, his deputy, and then APC. But as it has to do with INEC, the Labour Party is claiming that, one, their votes were stolen, as it were, allotted to. In fact, I don't know if it is possible, because we don't have time, to be honest. Can we do another program, maybe tomorrow, if it is possible, where what we will deal with is the prayers of Labour Party and how so far they're faring in the court with respect to their prayer? I think it would be a wonderful time for us to do a deep analysis on this. And even what is happening with the PDP petition and the defend. and their defense, because I do really think that what is happening with PDP is helping us. It's helping Labour Party's cause. So I want us to, if you can set up a reminder for our audience, that's what we are coming to talk tomorrow, so that I can keep it side by side with the Electoral Act, and we tell, and then we compare what has happened so far in court, whether we are crawling or walking or inching closer to the realization of our prayers. I think it would be a nice one. I don't want to waste that juicy discussion, because to me it's so juicy. Now I am beginning to, I said it in some programs where I was last week, that look, when Inec start defending themselves, we will see how close it is to realizing our dream. And that is what is. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we call it, if you don't mind. Yeah. Well, what they have done is that they didn't just give Nigeria a moment of exciting laugh, but it didn't change anything, because our lawyers are going to write to corroborate even their abscondment. They went at war. Everything, that this particular trial is adopted more in written form. We have intelligent lawyers. When I listened to Festus Okoye talk last week that the INEC lawyers behave themselves professionally, that I am laughing. I said, there is only one lawyer in Nigeria today who has won a case that was adjudged under the 2022 Electoral Act. That lawyer is in Labour Party team. The lawyer that won the case of Oyetola versus Adeleke. He's the only lawyer that have tested that particular Electoral Act and won a case that went up to the Supreme Court, even when their tribunal said that his client lost. He went to appeal court, won in appeal court, and won in the Supreme Court. So there is only one lawyer in this country today who has stood before the Supreme Court, defended his case based on the 2022 Electoral Act, and won that case. And that person is in Labour Party team. So when you talk about the implication, it is academic work all of them are going to go and do, research. And remember that lawyer too, 20 years ago, took on the case of Peter Obi when PDP was everywhere. APGA was like no party. And he stayed in court with Peter Obi for 3 years. Despite all odds, he was able to pick the pieces of 1999 Constitution and the Electoral Act then and use it to deliver victory for that young man. So the implication is, with all the fumbling and the bumbling of Inec, they are making it easy for them to say, my Lord, as you can see, as we have argued, you can see that we have a good case here. But tomorrow, by the time we talk about the case, the prayers of Labour Party, because I want to keep it side by side if possible. This is the prayer. This is the section of the Electoral Act that they are relying on for that. And then your camera is off. Are you aware? I can't see you on YouTube. Okay, so that is it. So when we put it side by side that way, we'll be able to see how we know, as I said, how we are running, because we need to. This is the prayer. This is the Electoral Act where they're relying. This is how INEC handled it. So that is it. Is it the court? Is it the court? The court will already. They will bring in APC or Tinubu from tomorrow. That's all. And to INEC, I believe that INEC were told to just declare the results. We can handle ourselves. So they have done they've declared their result. They were not meant to come to court and begin to sweat it out. So they are pushing the burden to APC and to the candidate Tinubu and the vice presidential candidate Shetima. If they're able to fight for themselves and survive, good. If not, INEC is somehow or the other. I feel like INEC is saying, "I've done my own. You guys can go." They're working together. I believe so. They're like, my own is to declare, because as I said, the INEC chairman knew that the moment he declares and issues certificate of return is only a court. So he has done his own bit. As as long as they're concerned, until maybe if you call them at the Supreme Court, they're done with the appeal court. In the first place, I, I don't think they have anything to say. Mm. Mm. I do strongly think Nigeria should have hope. I do strongly believe so. You know why? The whole thing is so apparent that you can't hide. The whole thing is so apparent. So it's important now you begin to ask yourself, how did P2B win before? Everybody has lost hope. But there is a way you make your evidence abundantly clear. Like the Bible says, even your enemies will be at peace with you. Isn't it? Isn't it the word of God? Even your enemies will be at peace with you. That's what I think. So let's see how it goes. But 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 the thing is, like I read the act here now. Nigerians are hearing. Nigerians see what INEC has done. Nigerians see what the law has said. Okay, let's see how the judges will say that thing is not what it is. Let's see. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but let's see how it goes. Of course, even the smallest of the governorship cases in the states, they will all end in Supreme Court. That one is sorted. You can't rule either. I mean, if P2B were to be told that he lost in this appeal court, wouldn't he go to the Supreme Court? If Bola Tinubu would be told that you're no longer president, do you think he's just going to walk out of Aso Rock like that? So no matter what the decision of the appeal court turns out to be, just take it from me. The Supreme Court is the court that will determine who is our president. What these people are doing is gathering documents for them, compiling it as a report and presenting it for them and say, my lord of my lords, you can now decide. Decision is for the Supreme Court. Yeah, but the Supreme Court one does not take longer time. I think takes 60 days or thereabout, which is 2 months. I can't remember. I can't remember how the Constitution put it, but most times the Supreme Court comes to rule for or against the judgment of the appeal court. You don't come there to begin to make a fresh case. So you do all your case, adopt your case, submit them, then the appeal court will rule on it. You can now appeal to say, I don't like their decision, revisit my case. So is that final submission? Yes, that's it. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I pray. Mm. Yes. Yes, I hope. I hope. Yeah. But that's true. Yeah. Yeah, but it's true. Yeah. Yes. 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 And these documents are available. Why shouldn't Nigerians read it? Why shouldn't Nigerians read it? I can literally almost quote major sections of the Electoral Act offhand because it's my country. I should be concerned with what is happening there. I should be concerned. Many Nigerians should be concerned. They don't care. Many Nigerians are just move on. And that's why we have been where we are, because we're not saying go and carry arms and fight anybody. We're saying at least know what is your right. If everybody knows what is their right in Nigeria, even the police will not be intimidating us the way they're intimidating us. Because how many will you kill and you get tired knowing that majority of the people know what is their right? When I got the transcript of the courts today, I was laughing because when they talk, I know the part of the electoral act they are violating. And when the LP lawyers ask the question, I smile because I know the Electoral Act where he's referring to when he asks that question. Because when he's going to write, they're going to write their report. They're going to refer to that question and show the judges why they asked that question. So, yeah, this is our this is our country. My grandfather, my my grandfather used to complain about elections in Nigeria in 1963. 1963, 1979. To me, to my hearing, my own father complained about elections in Nigeria in 1983 and 1993. And look at me now. I am complaining about election from 1999 to now. My own children, I don't want them to end up complaining. I want them to end up saying, oh, in our daddy's days, it used to be bad. We are the generation that made it good. That's all. We're weak. We're weak. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I agree. I appreciate. I I appreciate. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be like you see today. The was it the APC that started their defense today? They're gonna be defending the result of the president. Of President Tinubu, they're going to be defending his certificate, defending dual nomination, and defending Shetima's double nomination, and all those things. So it's going to be a wonderful. Let's see how it goes tomorrow through the cross examination. But as I said, we need to look once again what are the prayers of Peter Obi and who supposed to come to defend each of their prayers. Which one goes to Inec, which one goes to APC, which one goes to Tinubu as a candidate, and which electoral act are they referring to when they were making those prayers, and how close are we in that journey to getting their prayers answered. That's what I think the Nigerians should know. It's gonna it's gonna be an interesting moment. I believe so. Yeah. All right. Enjoy yourself. And specifically, how close is he to realizing that prayers specifically? How close is he to realizing them? It's important because all we need to do is these are the prayers. This is why he made the prayer. He relied on this law to make the prayer. Inec violated that particular law. This is a proof that he violated that particular law. So, if that be the case, why shouldn't his prayer be granted? Okay. Excellent. And you too. Thanks. I appreciate it. Great. Yeah.